let's shift gears here now and talk a little bit of offensive line. Seth Ruder getting us kicked off says, thoughts on Tom to center because of the knee, ? Elgton was looking great at left tackle after Bach before the ACL. That would really shift free agency and the draft approach. That's a great question. I wasn't as sold at Elgton Jenkins at left tackle. That's just me personally. I feel like he played way better at left guard. When I seen that and I watched the tape set, now I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong or anyone else. You guys may see him as a dominant left tackle. I didn't see him as that. I seen him as he was a left guard, and I had all the faith in the world that he was going to be able to play center. And again, him not being able to play center, I don't think that he's not cut from the cloth to play center. I think we've seen the decline every single year, and that's at the guard position. We've seen his play decline, right, since 2021 where he graded out in the 80s. So with Elgton, for me personally, I think his best football is behind him. The question is, what can you bring him back at, right? So if we kind of reverse engineer this super chat here from Seth Ruder, guys, first of all, what do we think about Zach Tom playing center? Because if you move him to center, you now have a hole at right tackle, right? Mm-hmm. Now, do you trust Anthony Belton to play right tackle? I don't know. It seems like he's more of a guard than a tackle, me personally. And obviously he played left tackle in college, and now you're asking him to play the right side in general. What do y'all think about Tom to center? Let's start off with
that. I don't know.
Silence is deafening.
Yeah.
Emilio's thinking about Travis Glover moving to center.
Jeez, we're talking about all these musical chairs, man. I don't know if it's worth it. I think I'd rather keep Tom over there. You got your front side protected for J Love. Figure out what you're doing on blind side protection with Jordan Morgan, and draft and fill the interior. I mean, let's stop. Let's set something, man. Let's at least make the triangle, get your two edges, and get a center, and then we can go from there.
That's how I always build the offensive line, Tim. I always think get your two tackles established in your center, and the last thing you approach is guard. It seems like Gutey looked at it the opposite last year and went and spent a bunch of money at guard, and then we kind of expected Elgton to just shift over to center and make it work, right?
Tyler Linderbaum or bust in free agency. Let's go. I think that's going to tell us how this is going to look. Let's say we don't make that move, or we're in a bidding war and we're not able to get Linderbaum. I think, I don't think Seth is off base here thinking that maybe that's on the table. The idea that you'd move Zach Tom to center. We've had that conversation. We know this guy can play anywhere on that offensive line. But let's, devil's advocate, let's say we do. Let's say Zach Tom is your starting center coming off a knee injury, by the way, that he's currently rehabbing. Moving to the center position, what do you do at right tackle? And now you're shifting your focus, whether that's draft or free agency, on position of need. So I'm with Emilio. I think I'd rather keep Big Zach at right tackle and build out that interior as we go forward.
Yeah. And when you look at Zach Tom to center, dude, I'm totally on board with it. I'm okay with it if you can find another Zach Tom to play right tackle. The problem is those guys don't grow on trees, right? So let's say in the draft, one of these tackles fell to you. Let's say it's a Blake Miller, and I don't know where they lined up. We'd have to do a little more research, but let's say it's Blake Miller, or let's say Jennings Dunker is projected as a tackle. I think many people are saying guard now. What if Max Ihanakor is there at 52, right? If you can land one of these top guys here, somewhere between, like Caleb Tiernan, Max Ihanakor, Jennings Dunker, or Blake Miller, even throw Lomu in there. I know, and again, some of these guys might be projected as a guard. We'll get that information as we get closer to the draft. But if you get one of those guys falling to you, Emilio, and you plug them in at right tackle and you go, damn, that's Zach Tom. That's how Zach Tom looked when he was a rookie, right? I feel way more comfortable moving Zach Tom to center if Jordan Morgan is the guy at left tackle. So think about that. Let's explore that for a second. You've got Jordan Morgan playing left tackle, where I think he's played his best ball in limited snaps. We'll see how it shakes out. You got Zach Tom at center, and let's say you get Max Ihanakor to play right tackle, or let's say you get, Jennings Dunker to play right tackle, or Caleb Miller to play, or Blake Miller to play right tackle. If that works out, you've got your starting right tackle on a cheap contract. You've got Zach Tom, arguably your best offensive lineman. He's finally going to fix the center position, right? Because we know he can dominate at center. And then, of course, Jordan Morgan at left tackle. I don't hate that. Now, again, that's assuming, as Seth says here with the Super Chat, I'm all for Linderbaum, just worry about Tom's knee, right? If you go get Linderbaum at center, all bets are off, right? That's an option. But if Gutey don't want to spend that money and the market's going to be hot for Linderbaum, I would be okay with Tom at center and a rookie at right tackle if we feel really, really good about him being the guy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we'd have to look at, right? Who do you think of these prospects can come in year one and be effective as a right tackle, starting right tackle quality?
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're worried about the knee, the other thing is like, okay, yeah, he's touching the ball every time, snapping it, but what happens on a dive? What happens on a QB sneak? What happens on all these things where he's going to be falling onto as a, an interior lineman a lot more than, an edge right tackle. He's got his kick step and everything, but he's going to be any kind of interior run he could be falling on, and it's freak. You saw what happened to Ellen. You want to get through 18 games like that?
Yeah, it's tough, man. So when you look at the board here at the offensive tackle position, and again, some of these may end up being guards, okay? Spencer Fano, 9.9. Francis Mawaga is 10.9 out of Miami. Caden Proctor, 20.8. You got Monroe Freeling at 30.6. Caleb Lomu at 36.8. Then Blake Miller at 39.6. So if Lomu or Blake Miller somehow, some way fall to 52, run the card. I'm on board with it, right? Both of those guys check out. Jennings Dunker at 52. We've got a 51.3 grade on him. Dane Brugler says no, he's 84th. Tankathon said no, he's 44th. Consensus Big Board said he's 34, and the PFF Big Board said he's 44. Now, he's checked out consistently with the PFF grades. 143rd at the position. Then he jumped all the way to 8th, fell back to 17th, still a solid grade. When you look at the PFF grade rankings, Jennings Dunker is the most consistent guy there, with the exception of Blake Miller, who's an ascending player. 82nd, 78, 27. So if you just go strictly ascension coming into the league, Blake Miller will be the better prospect. Jennings Dunker, however, has played at a higher level more consistently. He just took a slight step back this year. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now,
Dunker's one of those guys I'm hoping might fall, as we get closer.
Now, Maxi Hanakor, Emilio, 586, jumped to 177, jumped to 63. The PFF Big Board had him at 118. The Consensus Big Board had him at 71. Daniel Jeremiah says 41st.
Yeah. No, DJ likes him a lot.
Dane Brugler, 44, right there with him. And then, of course, it's worth mentioning, man, he dominated the Senior Bowl. Maxi Hanakor, he was blocking guys to the point where they were getting frustrated, and then they took a punch at him. He just slapped he slapped the poopy out of him. He literally just backed up, slapped him, and looked at him like, who do you think you are? Maxi Hanakor, he checks all the boxes for me. He really does, man.
Yeah. He absolutely can. And strictly a right tackle. I mean, strictly. It's like you brought over Jordan Morgan to play the right side. I mean, Hanakor has only played right tackle, 320, 920, 850. So, again, you draft him, then you're going to go, all right, here's our new left tackle, move him all across to the other side. And then it's like, let's not do that. Let's find somebody that maybe is going to stay at that position, then we bring them in. That's why I'm more on like Pregnon or Dunker or somebody like that. Bring in a guard, bring in somebody that's solid inside and keep them inside. But again, I guess the talk will start happening here once we get the measurables for their arms, if we're over 33 inches or not, and then we can go from there.
So since you mentioned that, I went ahead and updated the board and put right tackle in the middle of Maxi Hanakor. Okay, so we kind of know that's where he played the majority of the snaps. We need to get that stuff updated here soon.
Yep.
And of course, Jennings Dunker is offensive tackle /V because people were saying he's going to play guard. What do you think about that, Tim? What if you got Maxi Hanakor at 52 to play right tackle and you move Tom to center? You think that makes sense, man?
I mean, it's not the worst approach, right? I'm just leaning towards Big Zach staying where he is. I would rather fill out that interior either in free agency or the draft. But, if you are going to move Zach Tom, I mean, that's a pretty good option, right?
Yeah, definitely. So, again, and I understand, Seth, thank you for the super chat, man. I understand the worry about Tom's knee. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll play. I think he'll come back better than he ever has been. I think that's something that's been nagging him, and they were trying to work him back. I wish they'd have just went ahead and gotten it done early.
He had that oblique issue too. He had a couple other nagging injuries as well, Yeah,
definitely. J. Cole says, if we keep Banks, he needs to play better. Amen, 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 and amen. I hope they move on from Banks. I've kind of seen enough. And I know there's some people going, well, he was hurt. He wasn't hurt the entire year. And he wasn't hurt in San Francisco. And in San Francisco, he does not – you don't watch the San Francisco tape and go, that dude's a top guard in the game. You just don't. Do you think he's bad? No. But we overpaid for good. We didn't overpay for great, right? And again, it's not even a position of tier 1 importance. It's not even tier 2, Emilio. So it's like you spent a bunch of money on that at left guard with the understanding that, okay, well, Elgton Jenkins is going to be an upgrade at center, and that didn't work either. So it really swung and missed on 3 different aspects of the offensive line, not just 2. You swung and missed on Aaron Banks. Granted, it's just 1 year. You swung and missed on Anthony Belton. Again, he may end up being great. Right now, he is not great. I don't care what anybody says. There's nobody that can watch the tape and go, oh, look, this dude's a great football player. He's not at this moment, but he's a rookie. He was 120th on our board. We reached like hell to go get him. So that was a swing and a miss. And then Elgton Jenkins moving to center, I was all on board with. I thought it was going to work out better. It did not work out. Gutey was wrong, and I was wrong. So what do you think?
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
I mean, word for word, man. That's it. It's you gotta. I feel like we're to the point of, okay, we've tried the versatile thing. Pick somebody. That's why I'm so on Pregnon. If he falls, give me him. He's played left guard his whole career. Drop in place, and he knows he can pass block. He can run block. He was in a spread offense in Oregon. I would be all for that. The more we look at it, the more I'm seeing interior line round 2, round 3 and 4, D line and corner, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. And Emilio talking about Pregnon here, Tim. So we've got him with a 46.8 grade. Dane Brugler says 79. Tinkathon says high as 36. The consensus big board said 32. PFF big board said 42. You got a guy who's gotten better every year. In 2023, he was 187th at his position. He took a slight step back at 189, so he didn't get better every year. But then last year, he jumped all the way to second best at his position. That's a guy to really keep an eye on. At 52, if you draft him and you just plug and play him at left guard, I'm okay with that. Move on from Aaron Banks, get Pregnon at 52, and throw him in there at left guard. I'd be totally
6'5", 320.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Gutey was talking about, size and speed-wise.
There you go.
Yeah, 100% on board with that. 86.7 grade last year, according to PFF. Pure interior guy. Played a little bit of right guard, but mostly left guard.
Yep, and doesn't have his age, Tim, but it was a redshirt senior. So you have a little bit more experience, a guy that's, been doing it a little bit longer.
Yep, maybe increase the likelihood of him, coming to the league and fitting right in and developing pretty nicely.
Absolutely.
There. Yeah.
Definitely. Not so cool. Last one here says, are we willing to pay $25 million for Linderbaum in bidding wars? Oh, if you're asking me if I'm willing to, there's got to be a walk away price, right, guys? I'm willing to pay 20. I think it's that important. But when you start talking the 25 range, I'm too drunk to taste that chicken. That's a lot of money, guys. That's a lot of money. And again, it's not a tier 1 position. It's important. I'm willing to pay $25 million if Linderbaum was a left tackle. You go, okay, that's worth it. That's that tier 1 position. But to pay that kind of money for a tier 2 position at center, it's important. You guys know I talk about it all the time. But man, $25 million. I would rather go get Connor McGovern at $12 million and then have that extra $8 million to play with, and then maybe potentially draft one of these young guys. Because Connor Lew is the best center in the draft according to our board of the 58.3. The problem is he's coming back from that ACL. Jake Slaughter, a 68.6, not really worthy of the 52nd pick, although I would be okay with them taking him there. You want to get him maybe closer to 84. Chase Pasantis at guard, a 73.4, but stick in the center. Brian Parker switched from left tackle to center in the draft process. The Packers have already met with him. 82.4 on him. I'd be okay with Brian Parker to come in and compete at center at pick 84. That'd be fine too. We talked about Pat Coogan with an 84.8 at the 82 spot. I'd be okay with that as well. Both of those guys have gotten better every year. You're talking about, let's back up to Jake Slaughter, 9th, 6th, and 8th at his position. He has just been as steady as anyone, according to PFF, at the center position throughout all throughout college. Brian Parker out of Duke, who played tackle, I think he played right tackle, if I remember correctly, too. 122, 43, 6. That's an ascending player. Pat Coogan, 159, 43, 12th. That's an ascending player. You've got this kind of narrowed down to 3 centers that you really like: Jake Slaughter, Brian Parker, and Pat Coogan. I'd be on board with all of them.
Sam Heck.
Yeah, you're big on Sam Heck. He's lower on our board. Let's talk about why. Why is he lower on our board?
The issue with Sam Heck is, man, I feel bad for him, right? Because this is where our board kind of locks people in just a little bit, and that's look at his numbers. We got him for 24. He had a 91. He was eighth. Is that eighth or ninth in 2025? And then
Sixth, actually.
Six. I'm sorry. What's holding him back is his PFF grades, where we've got him. I mean, he's in the 200. He's in the 298 for PFF big board, consensus big board of a 234. He already got a -5 because he performed well. Tankathon had him on 121. Listening to DJ, he was the first one mentioned for I think the pre-draft call in. I think it was the Lions guy called in and said, "What are we going to do about our offensive line? You know, who do you like at centers?" Sam Heck was the first one mentioned. When I pull up centers now in PFF big board,
70th, bro. 70.
Yep. Sam Heck is 68th right now on PFF's big board.
That's crazy. I'm showing 70th right now. Let me refresh. Did it move? If it moved while we were live, I'm gonna laugh so hard, man. I'm still showing 70th here.
Okay.
That's on the big board. They've got him 70th ranked.
Okay, yeah. So 68th, 70th. So let me just do this real quick. If I were to move him off of 298 to 70th, like Clay said, that would bring him into the 108 spot. That would put him right next to Logan Jones, center out of Iowa.
I'm going to pull that board up here so we can do it in real time. Are you okay if I sort it by grade? I'm going to sort it by grade. All right, and we're going to show you guys what we're talking about here. If you'll take it back, undo it, and then show everybody how he jumps here on our board.
Yep.
All right, so we're looking for Sam Heck, right?
Yes, sir. 117. So he was 298. So right now he would be sitting at 134. And then when I put in the 70, that would bring him down to 108.8, and that would slot him in right here at the 116, 117, right before Logan Jones. Mm-hmm. Would you be mad at a third round pull for Sam Heck, Kansas State center? I don't know I don't think I would be upset about that.
It's a great point. And he checked out at the All-Star game, right? At the Senior Bowl. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's tough, man. And again, I'm always open.
We've done it before. We have definitely done it before where we've adjusted it.
Yep. So what we're talking about, guys, and I want input. You guys let me know in the Patreon group how you feel about it. I'm a big fan of get the numbers in early with these big boards. That way all this postseason hype doesn't throw the board in flux. So we can keep it at where we've got it. What was the number again?
298.
298. So we had him at 298. Or we can jump him all the way up to 70th on the PFF big board. Now, if you do that, it's like, well, don't we got to do that with the consensus big board as well? Let's see where he's moved on the consensus big board. I'm going to look that up real quick.
Yeah, because if he's sitting there, I mean, he's sitting 180-ish. You know, he's deep on the board if you don't give him that. The only reason that and this is kind of where you think about it, is the only reason that I would want to change that is because of how well DJ spoke about him. We're not the ones scouting him, right? This whole board is us gathering information and putting it together. If Greg Cosell says he likes him as the best center, if DJ says, hey, he's the first center that's going to be going off in round 2, he's, there's not a first round center, fine. That's where I would be like, okay, maybe the PFF big board, they were so far off at the beginning. Let's take this middle number here before, March, before the draft actually gets going, maybe right after the combine, see what happens. But that would be the only thing where you'd be like willing to change it, just because the actual scouts of our quote unquote board are telling us different numbers.
Who in the hell is Mel Kiper anyway?
He's not on the board, Tim. Don't worry.
You will never find Mel Kiper as a factor on our board. I promise you. Sam Heck, 234 on the consensus big board, right? Guess where he's at now?
Oh boy,
92.
Really?
So if you were to change that,
let me just see. You're now you got me interested. Okay, so we've got Sam Heck. So he's at 298. Let me put in the 70, and then you said what was it? 92.
92.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Resort that, Clay, for me real quick.
86 is the new grade for Sam Heck if we did that, right? And everything changes. Now, all of a sudden, Sam Heck is the 92nd best prospect on your board. He is essentially at an 86.0. He's one tier below Pat Coogan, right below Pat Coogan.
He would be in the same horizontal tier if you're looking at it. We do the tiers of 10, 80, and 90.
It's tough. I feel like the honest way to do this is to split the difference. I feel like, what if we split the difference? So let's do this. If it was 70 for PFF now and 92 for consensus, what was it before for PFF?
298.
And what was it for consensus?
234.
234. So if we were to split the difference, 298 to 70, right? What would we put him at? And I want to get your take. I'm cool with changing it right now if you guys are. I feel like something needs to happen, though.
Yeah, I think so too.
298 and 70, all right? That would put that at 184. What do you think about PFF? We go 184, okay? And then the 234 plus the 92 divided by 2 would be 163 for the consensus big board.
That would drop him, let's see, right around 113. I don't think that's terrible. That puts him that puts him right there around 125-ish, a little bit after, right around Malik Muhammad, before Alar. He'd probably be the fourth center still. But, yeah, I think that's fair for him.
Why don't we roll with that, okay? Is there any way that we can mark that, though? Let's mark it with a color on the consensus and the PFF big board. When we change stuff, we know, hey, just keep in mind we did make a change. What if we made that box yellow on both those? Is that cool?
I like it.
Let's do that. So we know, Tim, moving forward, and you got to remind us, you're the smart one in the group. Me and Emilio are a couple of freaking idiots here. Okay? So when we move forward, looking at the board, if we see yellow in the PFF big board or consensus big board, that means we made an adjustment because that guy has shifted significantly. That makes sense.
Got it.
All right. Good deal. We feel good about it, Tim? Or Emilio, what do you think?
I like it. Yeah, no, and I'm glad we did it on air because I was going to ask you after air anyway. So what should we do about Sam Hack? Because like I said, I've been standing on the table for him just because the scouts are telling us, to believe. And because DJ talked about him, but even before Slaughter, like he was all about Sam Hack. He thinks that he's going to go round 2-ish. So I just wanted to give him a fair shot on the board. That was all.
No, I got it, man. I got it. Let's see if we can find. So we got a prospect here. Janice in the chat. Good to see you, Janice.
Yes.
Thank you for coming through.
Yes.
Said, hope to see Matt Golban. I guess is that Michigan State? Or is that Mississippi State? You think?
Michigan State.
370
on the PFF board, but a pure interior guy. A lot of center reps, a lot of guard reps.
So you said 370, right?
Yep.
Let's throw him in here real quick.
Graded out at an 82.6 last year. This could be, 5th, 6th round gem, depending on where he lands.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's throw him in here. We're going to highlight it blue because he's a center, right? Is that right, Tim, what you're showing?
Yeah, he's listed as a center now, but in 23 and 24, he played some left guard and some right guard as well. But all 727 snaps were at center last year.
And so here's how we need to make a decision here. On the consensus big board, he's currently sitting in the 178 spot. At the end of the college football season, he was at 125. So let's do the 178, okay? Let's count because he dipped all the way down to 382 and then jumped back up to 164. So let's go with the current one of 178. That's kind of in the middle there. So we'll go 178 for that. And then we'll run down the grades and all that stuff here soon enough. So we'll add them to the board here in real time. Yeah. So
54, 45, and 2.
He could be a guy, man. Fifth or sixth round.
I haven't gotten to the centers yet. We're still running through the consensus and stuff. But
Lord have mercy. That changes Janice, great freaking.
Yeah, great grab right there,
Janice.
Awesome. That's incredible. I can't believe we might have missed a gem. Janice caught it.
What range does that put him in now? I'm trying to see here. So, yeah, now he's in the 149 spot for us with a 129.8 grade. Emilio, that's a heck of a find.
Here's a guy.
Absolutely.
All right. And again, the consensus big board, it wasn't just like, okay, what's the buzz right now? We kind of troubleshot it, right? At the end of the football season, he was actually higher than he is now. He sank out of sight, came back up. So I feel like that's
and that's where our board saves him because, hey, we're taking into account the 54 he had, the 45, and the 2. If it's just the 2, all right, that's going to win him. The 24 is going to help bring it down, and the 23 is going to help bring it down. So those numbers being lower are only going to benefit him. If it's a bad number, if it's 350, all right, we're just going to kick that number out of there. Anything that's going to help him bring it down. And then there's some stuff behind the cells that are doing some more dividing and stuff that are going to get us the best average to move forward with a number to get them, the best chance.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. How do you feel about offensive line? The time got away from us there. Hit us up in the chat, in the comments. Let us know, how do you feel about the offensive line and the shakeup that we talked about? How do you feel about Zach Tom moving to center? What do you think about these prospects? Let us know in the YouTube comments. Hit that like button for us. Hit subscribe. Click the bell icon. We would greatly appreciate it.